Turn the music down on the mat, son. There you go.
Hello, welcome to Real Talk. I got my host with me right here to my right.
We got Tony.
Music down some more.
Then I got me and Cash right here to my left.
You got who? What my name?
I don't know. You gotta tell me your
He
name.
said the guest. He said I got another guest on the side of me right here. And your name is what?
Pastor Lewis.
Okay.
Wow, bro.
How you doing today, Pastor
I'm
Lewis?
doing good, man, but you should remember my name.
I do remember your name, but you're supposed to say it.
Yourself.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. You wanna go first or you want me to go first? So, between your time and you seeing our time, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, depends on what you're asking about time. Are you talking about the experiences in the community?
Yes.
Well, I mean, right now it's a lot of senseless, I want to say, just murder. Of me coming up in Brookside, Rockview, in the jungle, you know, just in my time, which would have been in the 70s and the 80s, it's different. You know, it's like a lot of things that are happening. I as who I am, I struggle with it because a lot of it just doesn't make no sense. You know, when it comes down to why the young men are, you know, just taking each other's lives like that. So it's definitely different. We had coming up, we had some, you know, homicides, but it was different because it's not justifiable, but it was different because of the fact that, you know, whatever territory, people claiming territory, you had the jungle, you had the Ville, you had KSI, you had all these different other particular communities, and so when someone violates that, then that turns into some kind of beef. But today is just not understood of why so much gunplay and so much homicide. That's too much. You got to turn my mic down some.
Okay.
How do you feel that the youth?
Turn his down some too.
How do you feel that the youth can change or be better?
That would be a question for you, young man.
No, I want to know what y'all think we should do better. Like,
Well, one of the things I think that would help you all is communication, conversation, and you got to understand. Ask yourself, why are we so at a point with each other that literally we'll take each other's lives? Like, it ain't about a fight; it's about this person being buried. So the question is, why? You got to ask yourself why. Why would I pick up a gun, or why would I use that kind of deadly, encounter, knowing that it could take that person's life? So you have to think about that, the consequences of that, all of that. Is it worth that? Because actually, a person that if one of y'all take one of the other's life, it's really two lives that are lost. Because now that person either gonna be on the run forever, or the possibility of that person becoming a victim, or if they get arrested, they spend the rest of their time in prison. So you got to think about those consequences. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have. You're gonna always have, you know, conflict, but does the conflict have to be deadly?
all right, so I understand by what you mean by, like, does it have to be like deadly or not? But for a lot of people now, they feel like that's the only thing that people know. So why you rather be the first one to do it to be the person that get hit. You feel me?
Not really, because when you say that's the only people, that you saying that that's the only thing people know.
Yeah, right now, I feel like that's the only thing people know.
So you're saying that they're not willing to learn nothing different.
I'm not saying they're not willing to learn. I'm saying that's the only thing they do know.
And so, I mean, I know you the host, and you're asking me the question. Mm-hmm. So my question to you, as a counter question to you, is that if that's the only thing that they know, then what does that say about them if they're willing to put their life at risk and put somebody else's life at risk? How much value is there? That's my question. Do they value their own life?
I say no, but also it depends on what they're doing it for.
What do you mean?
For,
I'm not the
for
host.
Some
You got
people,
see,
for some
see,
people, they feel like
I'm gonna let him talk.
when they lose somebody or say somebody takes somebody from you or like something like that, they feel like that's the only way they're gonna have a clear mind if they take the person that you feel me.
So eye for an eye.
Yeah,
In other words, you got me. You took something from me, so now I'm gonna take your life.
yeah,
So it just keeps going on.
yeah.
Now you tell me, does that make sense?
No, I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just asking. Like,
What are you asking me?
I'm asking you like, what do you think? How do you think that you could change that?
You got to change the way you look at stuff. You got to start to value yourself.
Well, also like, how do you feel like the parents can change that? Because it's not really always. It's always you ain't just gonna be a bad kid out the blue. So like,
Right.
it has to be like the way you was raised or something like that.
I was raised up good. I had a mother and a father at the house. Dad left when I was 15. That's when I got in trouble. That's when I started hustling and doing all that other stuff on the streets. And when he left, but still I had good value. Like I think some of y'all might have grew up, with that kind of value in your home. And then it comes to a point in life where you got to make that real crucial decision. You know what I mean? You got to make a decision that, I lost a lot of friends to the street, murder. Some of them went to jail. So I had to make that real tough decision about enough is enough. I don't want to do this no more. So what I think that you all as young men, you all got to make that decision when you ready. When you ready, is this where I want my life to end at? So I had to make that hard choice. And sometimes my friends ain't gonna come with me and they're gonna look at me different. Would I rather them look at me different and look at me as being corny, opposed to me having a life ahead of me in the future? I think I'd rather be corny to people. I think I'd rather look corny and have a life ahead of me instead of being the statistic either in the ground or in prison. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, okay, I understand what you're saying. So, with it being like with this generation now and with y'all, how is it that y'all have more hurt than
More hurt,
more heart?
more heart.
Yeah, than like kids our age.
Well, I think, first of all, they put guns in your hands. The gun is just something that's just, you got power. That gives you a false sense of power. So that false sense of power says, I could take your life. That gives you a sense of courage, but it's false courage. Because once that gun ain't out your hand, who are you? You understand what I'm saying? Everything is wrapped around your ability with firing that weapon. But if I remove that gun, then, who am I? Because then that's where the heart really comes in that. It don't take no heart for me to pull the trigger. That ain't hard.
Yeah.
That ain't hard. That ain't hard at all. But it'll take heart for me, number one, to walk away and to do something different. It'll take heart for me to challenge that person on a straight up brawl or whatever. I'm not saying I'm promoting violence, but I'd rather have a black eye or a couple knots on my head and see you tomorrow instead of not ever see you again.
So, why do you think it is that? So back then, y'all would fight before y'all go pick up a gun, no matter.
And we would have the gun and we say, yo,
Yeah.
hold that. And we go ahead and bang it out.
Mm-hmm. So why is it? Do you think it's different now?
Because they ain't got no heart. And it's easy right now with the gun play. I mean, most of them ain't, most people, because right now, even in prison, you got a lot of young men, y'all don't even understand in prison, they turning a lot of the young brothers out. They getting double digits like that, they losing, they bugging. Of course, you might got a certain segments that kind of group up together, but at the end of the day, you got brothers in there doing life. They don't care nothing about you, and they don't care nothing about your gang or nothing like that. These brothers ain't never getting out, and they turning these young men out. A lot of them turning out, they getting turned out in prison. Facts.
Mm-hmm.
And there ain't no guns in prison, but unless you hook up with somebody in there, and even that ain't guaranteed. Because now you got to be loyal in a way that you don't have no control over your life.
So what do you think about the law, like the cops now and the cops back
Yeah,
then?
because I was gonna ask that. Like, do you feel like the laws have changed, or like did that impacted in any way?
Back then we had community police. We had police that looked like us. So you had track, you had a couple of them other ones that came from out of our community. So they knew us, and a lot of them would talk to us, and they would engage with us like, yo, bro, you know I know your mom and your dad, right? You know what I'm saying? Don't let me see you over here again. They will work with us like that. Now, when you got cops now, and I'm not saying all, because I work with the police department now, thank God, that door got open, which is crazy. But with police and community engagement, unless there's relationship there, there's no diversion. There's no, you don't have ability to kind of deter that kind of activity. So back then, we had community police that came from the community. That's the difference, too. And then the other thing, and again, I'm not putting it all on you young brothers, but again, those guns don't have a life of its own. You got to give it life. If I put a gun down on this table right now on the floor, you got to pick it up. If nobody don't pick it up, guess what? It don't have life. It's just a piece of steel laying there. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So y'all got more availability to guns. Anybody back in my era that had guns, you good. It was hard to get guns. Now the thing that the young brothers y'all not thinking about, they making sure y'all got guns. There are people that want to make sure you kill each other. You make a job easy for them. So again, you got good cops, bad cops. You got good community, bad community, all the way around the board. You got good politicians, bad politicians. And the truth be told, prison is a business. So they got to make sure the prison stay full. And guess who's going to help make the prison stay full? And how do they do that? By keeping y'all what? With what? A blinky in your hand, right? Mm-hmm. Makes sense, right? Yeah. If they want, listen, the prisons are on the stock market. But if they got people investing in prison, then how they going to guarantee that that investment is going to be worth it? They got to create an atmosphere of violence so that those prisons.
There's always people in there.
Mm-hmm. Now y'all getting double digits for nothing.
Because stocks, they always got to be good. Or if it goes down, it goes down.
So, and then now, in the 13th Amendment, you lose your rights. Now you become a slave. You have freedom as long as you're not long as you didn't get arrested or you're not in prison. Long as you didn't violate or you got arrested, you're a free man. But as soon as you get arrested and you become a prisoner, you lose that 13th Amendment. You become a slave again. You got to understand your rights. So what I'm saying to you young brothers, listen, you can make a conscious choice to say, I'm going to change my life, or you can continue on. I can guarantee you two things. You can be buried or you can go to prison. I can guarantee you that without me even knowing your future.
All right, so what do you feel like are the first steps that somebody should take to achieve, to get out of it?
Know your friends. Know your associates. Know who you hang around with. Whoever you associate with dictates the way you think. So if you can circle yourself around positive people, then that's going to help you fortify positivity. You got to think about what it is that you want to do and what's the future you want ahead of you. You got to think of it. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your little sister, do it for your little brother, do it for your mother who has risked her whole life to try to make sure you have a better life. You understand? Some of y'all probably didn't have your fathers in your life. I don't know. Some of y'all might have had great fathers in your life. I don't know that. But for the majority, most of y'all have been raised by your mother. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. So the first step is making a conscious choice. I don't want to be in this atmosphere no more. And I want to do something positive. And I want to circle myself around friends. And then I think some of y'all got great friendship with 5 or 6 of y'all. Y'all grew up together. So for all y'all to be on the same path together, that is powerful. That is absolutely powerful. Usually 1 or 2 change. But if you got 5 friends today, 6 friends that you cool with, and all y'all have a choice, a conscious choice, and you say that you want to go on the right path, that is absolutely powerful. Because that's going to fortify each other. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got questions?
Yeah, kind of, a little bit, yeah.
Cut.
Yeah, you just said it all in one.
Huh?
You said it all in one.
Well,